this is about the remix today, so I guess we should talk about remixing first and foremost. We saw one in action, how Kissy did it from start to finish, but how, Jack Beats, how long does it take you to complete a remix?
Yeah, it does vary.
Is it variable? Yeah.
I mean, in general terms, for us, most of the time it will take a lot longer than normal. We don't ever do remixes in like a day or.
We have done though.
We've done like the
it's
earliest
totally
in 2
variable.
days.
It just depends. Like we've had like real brick walls where we've been like, just creative juices just totally dried out, and like we just hit our head against brick walls. But we're the type of idiots to just keep going back and going in, gets more and more painful, and then occasionally it's been, at the end of a month of trying to do something, and we get a day where it works, and we totally change the idea. And we've had other times where we've done it in a couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, we've done one in like a couple of days, but most take at least a week, and some have taken at least a month.
And does it vary?
I think that's our limit.
Yeah, that's the limit.
Does it vary according to the song that you've been asked to remix? I mean, is some songs harder than other songs to remix, and if so, why?
Sometimes, but we generally choose songs that either we're into the artist, or more importantly, we've got an idea, we hear the track, and we think we can do something with it, so, or that we actually want to remix it ourselves. Like there's been times where we just wanted to have a go at it before we kind of, as we were kind of coming up and stuff, we just wanted to kind of, we liked a song, we wanted to have a go at doing it, and we'd either try and get the parts or just do it from like the kind of stem, basically.
We came a little bit through off the back of people like a guy called Dave Taylor who records under Switch, who's now gone on to produce like Beyonce and people like that out in the States. But his approach to remixing at the time was pretty much, one, he flooded the market and just for about 6 months he just butchered everybody by pretty much making the best remixes out there because he was super talented. But a lot of the time he'd remix a track which was really just, you probably wouldn't want to remix it, but he'd just totally turn it into like a brand new track. And there's kind of
use as little as possible of the original track.
Exactly, yeah. And I think like when we started, we were just taking on like anything. I think now we're pretty particular because we to be honest, we do take quite a long time to do stuff. So it's kind of probably worth, if you get to that stage, it's probably worth thinking of doing something that you'd like to do, like for an artist that you're excited about, or if it's a new artist that you hear like the track, you're like, oh wow, like this is cool, Or it's the other side of it, like if it's an artist that's going to do really well, then if you do a good remix, you might get played on publicity, on the radio and stuff. It can go anywhere. I mean,
who have you guys remixed? Bring us through some of the ones that you've done. Florence and the Machine, you've done. Kissy Sellout. LaRue.
Big Boy. Hockey.
Lady Sovereign.
Scream.
Yeah, Scream's getting done at the moment.
Yeah, Lady Sovereign.
You're doing Scream Where You Should Be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit of the Dave Taylor approach on this one.
Wow.
He gave us just the a cappella.
Wow.
Nice one, Ollie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I can't remember actually.
God, we've done loads.
We've done loads, yeah. It's really hard to remember.
Yeah.
But like as an example, I guess, like sort of just on that sort of point, I don't know if you like. I'm sure you guys are aware of an artist called Crookers. Their big sort of song was a Kid Cudi remix, which they weren't commissioned for. I'm pretty sure they weren't commissioned. They asked A-Track, or I think they just did it and gave it to A-Track. Yeah. And it sort of stemmed from there, and that's kind of like their biggest kind of remix to date.
Like number 2 or something in the end.
Yeah,
and it was just basically
radio daytime.
Wrote Kid Cudi.
Yeah,
I mean the history of that tune was it was just literally done, and it was on blogs for about a year before it even got an official release. So you could pick it up for free, and then it got a proper release, and then still got to number 2 in the charts. It's like there's no right or wrong really anymore in that respect.
That was just from them having an idea, obviously, and being like, right, either can we get? I don't know if they actually got the parts, whether they just went in and did it, but they approached A-Track and were just like, we want to sort of do it, and it was kind of from there, as opposed to a label commissioning a remix. So
cool. Toddla T, tell us a little bit about your kind of history of remixes. First of all, what software do you use? We saw Kissy kind of showing you how Ableton works.
Yeah.
What do you use?
I use Logic. I do use a bit of Ableton, but whereas opposed to Kissy was skipping between different programs, luckily mine's all in one place. So yeah, I mean, there's no right or wrong making a song, so it's how you work it, but I just do mine pretty much all in the box in one screen. Everything he was doing just in one place sort of thing.
Yeah. And who have you remixed?
Egyptian, Puff Daddy, Gorillaz, Hot Chip, a whole heap of heads.
And Benny mentioned like when sometimes you can hear a song and there's something in it that makes you want to go, oh, I want to remix this. Would you agree with that? And if so, what are the things in a song that you would hear that you go, oh, I want to, you know?
For me, generally, it's the vocals because, well, most tracks you get asked to remix have got a vocal in it anyway. Like in my experience, and it's all about the song and if it's good or not, basically, or if you like it or not. And also, there's a big thing about your artist integrity, which is basically wanting to be associated with a song or a sound. We've all got like preferences and secret egos where you don't want to touch things, or you want to be involved in things. Like the Kid Cudi one's an example. They wanted in on that and they did it. They did a right job. And sometimes I get sent things before of it. I'm like, nah, man, I'm not on that.
Yeah.
So it's just about the song. If you like the tune, if you like what the artist is about, even not like musically. Like some people, I don't like the music, but I like what they're about.
Yeah.
And so I respect them. So I think, yeah, that's heavy. I'll do that. Or sometimes I just get and I think I don't like your music, and I think you're a Wally. So nah, I'm not on it. But most time.
Toddla T vetting.
Yeah, most times it's about
You're a Wally. Go on. And how long does it take you? Are you a fast worker? Or?
It depends, like the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, a typical example of that is one of the biggest remixes out of the whole scene that I'm involved in is a remix of LaRue by Scream, which kind of broke dubstep into the mainstream. And he had that instrumental on his computer before he made the track. Got the a cappella from the record label, put it on the beat, it was in key, it fit. So probably took him like 10 minutes. Biggest tune in our scene in the last year or two. Took him 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So there you go. Fluked.
Let's. Wow. Benny and Neil, what do you use in terms of software?
At studio we use Logic.
Yeah, pretty much like. I mean, we used to use loads of other stuff, but we just used we're totally in the box. And I mean, I've personally like been lucky enough to come to sort of studios like this in the past doing stuff for Scratch Perverts when I was a lot younger, and kind of got taught to engineer on one of these desks by someone who was, you know, a really good mentor in that respect. And I've kind of got plugins now that emulate all this stuff. Like I like boxes with big knobs on them and all that stuff. But Kissy's absolutely right. There's good and bad points to all that stuff. I think it's ultimately just being comfortable. And right now we're comfortable. We've got a small studio. There's two of us. Sit there with just a computer. It's actually a lot nicer than having loads of stuff around and synthesizers and things like that. You know, we do have a computer that's stacked. So, you know, we do have like a really nice computer, and it's got pretty much every plugin you could name. But we don't have any of this sort of stuff or any of that. And it's just really just Logic. It's just the front end to it all. And you know what? We could probably have 1% of the plugins we've got and probably get away with it. It's not. You can buy Logic now for like 200-300 quid or whatever it costs, and you know you can do most of it. That guy Dave Taylor spoke about Switch. If you've not checked his remixes, you should. He did pretty much all of that just on Logic with Logic plugins.
Yeah, no extra stuff at all.
Yeah, and he's like producing, you name it, driving around LA in like a
Christina Aguilera
20 series BMW at this rate. Do you know what I mean?
How many people here use Logic?
Yet,
do people here use Logic? Yeah, and what about Ableton? Few people use Ableton. Anyone use anything else? Anything different? Pro Tools and Cubase. Yeah. No Fruity Loops.
Yeah.
Fruity Loops. Wicked. That's what Scream uses, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fruity
That's
Loops.
what Laidback Luke.
Yeah. Afrojack.
Mouse uses it.
Benga. Loads of people.
Essentially your sequence, like it's what you're used to. I learnt on Steinberg for years, so that was like Nuendo, then Cubase. And then in latter years started to move into like other ones, but it's whatever comfortable with. They all pretty much serve the same function. Certain ones have different advantages, you know, from MIDI and audio advantages and disadvantages, but it's kind of what you're used to and what kind of works for you, really. So generally once you can use one, you can kind of muddle your way through any of the other ones, really. You obviously be a master or not at one, but you know the others pretty much can kind of be used in exactly the same way. So
it's what comes out of your head at the end of the day. Really, you know, most of those things are capable of doing the same sort of thing.
Even just in the box with no extra kind of like sort of add-ons, basically.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the business side of it for a second. A lot of people here probably not making that much money off their productions yet. But you guys, I mean, that's your living, that's your vocation. How much can you get for a remix? Like, what have you heard is like top dollar for a remix? And then what would you say is a kind of a standard?
I mean, top dollar. There's a recession at the moment. Top dollar I ever heard was Masses at Work did the Spice Girls years ago and got 30 grand.
Wow.
I reckon it's probably not gone much beyond that because that was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
Freemasons are still on about that.
Huh?
Freemasons are still on about that, I think. Really? Like 20 grand or something.
Bloody hell.
Good for them.
Somebody call up the Freemasons manager quick.
Who manages them?
But I guess Freemasons do like they did that Kelly Rowland tune, didn't they? They do big pop songs that get on all the kind of regional radio.
Also, that's not a niche remix as well. It's not.
That's not. This is
It's commissioned by the label.
And I mean, there is that thing as well. That was my next question. Is kind of like when you put a remix in, how much power do you have over it, and how much do the label kind of come back and go, "Oh, we like that, but can you just take out the breakdown and make it sound more like this and this?" And I think with Freemasons, there's a kind of formula to what they do. Would you say? Yeah.
No, they're going to deliver. So
in all the remixes that we've done, we've only ever had a label ever come back. I'm pretty sure once and say they wanted something changed, and it was so small that we were just like. It makes no difference to it was literally, can you just like mute a vocal for like 2 bars and then let it come, and it was so small that we were just like fine. Once we do the remix and give it, we're pretty like much advocates of like, if you're, especially in these sort of latter years when we're getting paid for it, once we deliver it, that's it. We're sort of delivering it, and like you either accept it or you don't, kind of thing. Not in a sort of an egotistical way. It's just
but you're Jack Beats though, aren't you? I mean, if you get
once we deliver a mix, it's delivered.
Remix. You don't want something.
And that's what they're paying for.
Right. I think everyone that's sitting here is involved in that end of like remix culture, which is like you kind of come. It's basically about taking someone like LaRue. Scream's a perfect example, like moving her into like a different zone. So it's like we'll get a dubstep mix because the dubstep kids. A dubstep kids, 90% of kids or something these days, you want them listening to LaRue, breaks her in, and then her vocal sits on that, so maybe they'll buy the album. It's like there's different ways. Then there is a sort of Freemasons type route, but that's much more like down a kind of go to work. Here's Kelly Rowland, put a 4/4 beat on it and make that get in the top 10 and get it A-listed, and that's not really like Scream. If the LaRue mix really should have been an A-listed record by the reaction it got, but that was like a happy accident. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all kind of, Scream's done some mixes where it's just like sheer chugging crazy bass and little snippets of vocals, because none of us are really paid to sell a record in that respect.
You're kind of paid to bring it to a different place, aren't you?
And then the other side of the coin, this is we don't get paid that much money for it. You make your money back off doing gigs and things afterwards. Really, it's like you get paid a bit, but it's not. It's not like it's not the type of money you're going to rely on as a job, unless you're maybe somebody like Harvey's the exception, who for a while was doing like a remix every week. Because
the Wide Boys, they do like that.
Yeah, I mean some people have outputs like that which are just constant. Yeah, and it's maybe a little different.
And once you get paid, that's pretty much it. You don't generally get any royalties or any other payment. It's pretty much standard procedure to get paid in advance for your remix, and that's it basically. And then our manager was telling us the other day that on very few occasions in maybe America, if you're like an an A-side remix, you might get some sort of royalty, but generally you just get paid your fee, and that's kind of
like a stepping stone to sort of showcase what you can do though for
it's brilliant.
Moving on to like actual production, and then if you start producing the acts that you're remixing, then suddenly you're making half the money off that record. It's there's lots of ways to look at it. It depends on your.
It's a good in route, isn't it, for a producer?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's two strong like morals there though, just to bear in mind if you're making any music. One is don't be so protective about your own music. If someone asks to hear your tune, or they want a copy of your tune, give it to them. Trust me, give it to them, because it's going to be a long time. If you've only just started out, it's going to be a long time until you're making any money. So make sure you don't be picky about who you send your money to, your music to, because they'll give it to someone else, they'll give it to someone else, they'll give it to someone else, and before you know it, your name's been spread around and you get asked to do stuff. And the thing about the remixes thing is don't get too bogged down by the money aspect, because actually the fact that you get put on the CD from the major label is such an amazing thing. And I mean, like, the big thing for me was when I was sitting in a design studio and I was minus £13 a week, and the editor-in-chief kept forgetting my name at this fashion magazine, and I'll be there for 4 issues. But that morning, she asked me what my name was again. And I couldn't believe she couldn't remember what my name was because it'd been 4 issues. And then that morning I got offered to remix All Saints for their comeback single for like £1,000, only if they liked it. And I just thought, man, like that's cool. Like, it's not, again, going back, it's not necessarily that I was a big fan of All Saints, but I just thought, I looked at it as an opportunity. I thought that's an opportunity for me to get my music out there. And that's I think that's the first track Annie played by me. And that was just magical, absolutely magical. And I think Jack Beats and Toddla actually have all had that experience where it's just really helped them out having their name on other things.
Yeah,
we were never like afraid to just like ask people to. In our earlier days, we would just ask. Like we were lucky enough to kind of be involved in music pre to Jack Beats, so we kind of had a bit of a family of friends in music that we could be like, look, can we remix you, or like can we just have the parts to that? And we just asked loads of people and kind of generated our own remixes for the first year. And did most of them on spec really, which is kind of
talk about spec because people might know what that is.
Essentially, like you'll do the remix, agree to do it with a view, if they like it they'll use it, and if they don't, they don't use it and you don't get paid. So it's up to you. It's kind of your way of being like, fine, I'm gonna get your foot in the door, do the mix, hopefully they will like it, and if they don't, then all you've lost is sort of time in the studio, which isn't ever a loss. So like generally when you become a bit of a bigger artist, you tend to not do stuff on spec anymore.
Every initial remix is on spec, innit?
Yeah.
Like, you want to do it anyway. Well,
yeah, don't get bogged. Yeah, exactly. Don't get bogged down too much by money.
Yeah,
I mean,
money ain't
a lot
the one.
of remixers that don't make the final cut from the label end up just out there in the kind of blogosphere, and like that Villa mix of Adele, which I'm playing on my show at the moment, that got a no from the label, but they just gave it out for free, and now everyone's playing it, and it's kind of like, just because the label doesn't like it, they're not necessarily, as Kissy says, don't ever let anyone tell you that you're wrong, because what you like is just as much as what other people would like out there, but just maybe not the label. But
yeah, MySpace was great for that. When MySpace was really bubbling, it was a great platform to hear other people's mixes, or to do your own mixes and put them up there and stuff. And we used that quite heavily, didn't we?
I mean, if we're really, really brutally honest about it, we've made so far from our production very little money. Like, but we've made good money now from touring and DJing, especially out in a place like America and stuff where they do bigger shows and things. It's like, the first year we really got paid for remixing was like, not last year but the year before, when we were remixing a lot, and it's, we didn't make like that much money, but it's like, it really, like in the grand scheme of it, it's just not about that. It shouldn't really be like, it's an aspect, it's worth understanding it, but the year and 2 years before that, we basically didn't really ever get any money. I can remember one we did for Virgin, and we really got in there because it was our friend that was signed to the band, and we got paid for that one. But it was like, literally it was like, oh wow, like, I've got 300 quid, I'm going to the pub. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it really was just like at the pub having a pint, like chinking a glass. That's amazing, we got some money for making a beat. I mean, the other side of it is, we've had long careers in DJing, but that whole time pretty much we were producing music, and it took us a long time just to find something that everyone was like, oh, actually I quite like that beat you've made. Most of the time it was just like, alright, you make some beats.
But as you're saying,
a crap rap beat.
You don't make money directly from, well, you do, but not that much. But what you do is you fuel your own DJing career, and a lot of people who DJ, they won't be able to get gigs unless they have something to show for their name. So if you do a really good remix, then you're going to get more gigs and get paid better for those gigs.
Exactly. I mean, when we sort of came through like a few years ago, it was more from a DJ aspect. So you could be a good DJ or a bad DJ, but you could be a DJ and get gigs and kind of have a career. But these days it's like, you have to make music, you have to have product out to get your gigs, to be a DJ, to work live or whatever it is. You can't really do the old school route of, right, I'm going to be a really technical DJ or have an angle of DJing and use that art form as a platform to my career anymore. So it's kind of, it's why everyone kind of, and plus because you can just do it literally in the box on your laptop these days, those two things marred together just make it change the sort of the game slightly in that respect. So
how many people here are DJs? Yeah. How many would kind of like to kind of go into that world but maybe haven't done it yet? Okay, cool. I just wanted to ask each of you as well one more kind of more technical thing. For me as a radio DJ, my job is to listen, and I like when things stick out and when things are original and kind of sound different, stuff that maybe I've never heard before. What would you do? Like, what is kind of the key element to you, your productions and your remixes that make you kind of stand out? Or do you think about that when you go in? Do you go, I want this to sound different? What makes you original? Kissy?
It's a big question. I mean, I think certainly for me, I'm sorry if some of the comments I say about this sort of stuff comes across slightly vaguely, but I just know what I like.
Yeah.
I just know what I like, and I just don't think too much about it. And I don't mean that in a dismissive way. I don't mean that as in, if someone asks me to do a remix or something, I'm like, oh, I'm too big, I'm going to put my sound. I don't think of it like that, because actually, the whole point is that you just let it happen. You just let it happen, and if it's in you, it'll work. and if it's not in you, it won't work. But which is a bit harsh. But then again, that's what's so exciting about the music industry, and that's what I'm one of the biggest fans of other people's music ever, because I don't know, I love that when the magic happens. I'm a fan of these guys because when the magic happens, it's just so natural, you know. And when I first had Toddla T's first record, they went Toddla T, and had the beat. I thought it was so cool. But I kind of, there was a certain element of, I wish I'd thought of that. And what there was sort of. It wasn't even a wish I'd thought of that, because it was so extraordinary, that the whole kind of the dancehall thing with the kind of electro beats. But the point was that Toddla probably just, I'm assuming, just sat there and just did what felt right and felt natural.
Would you say that too?
Yeah, definitely. I just did it. I didn't think no one would like it. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what.
You didn't sit there and go, right, I want to sound original.
No, I just banged it out, and I thought, oh, it's like whatever. And then when people liked it, like I said earlier, when I was DJing, I was like, what? Serious? And then it took me ages to gain my confidence. It took me probably about a year with DJing and remixing before I was 100% confident and say, I'm doing me today, rather than, oh, no one's gonna get it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, allow it, I'm just going in.
And as you've kind of got more of a profile and people know who you are and stuff now, do you look back and think, God, do you look at yourself in a different way, because you have a very unique approach to music, but it's completely you at the same time?
I'm just more confident because it's kind of more tried and tested, I guess.
Yeah.
At first, like I said, I just didn't believe in myself. Yeah. I just made tunes because I wanted to make tunes, and now I think some people like them, everyone does, but enough people where I think, oh right, I can do my thing and get away with it, and people like it, and that's the only difference really. Everything else stays the same. It's just a little bit more of confidence boost when you get certain DJs playing your records and stuff. Yeah. And tell you too.
Benny and Neil, what would you say about that? Jack Beats does kind of have that signature wobble, which we talked about earlier. You do kind of have, but I think that's a good thing. You all have your own original kind of approach to music.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of came from, like I sort of said before, the DJ background where originality was everything. It was like you kind of, if you're competing against another DJ, if he did something that another DJ had done before, everyone would just be like, nah, it's the hip hop mentality of look, you can't fool us. If you're going to stand in front of us and everyone else, you got to come with something that you've come up with in your bedroom on your own on the decks. And we sort of, to quite a large degree, apply that to production, and we just labour over just about everything, and still not in every sort of way, just make sure we're both really happy with it, and it doesn't sound like anyone, and it sort of sounds like us, and it's kind of literally from every element that you'll hear is just make sure that it's just right for and it's not a copy of anything else. It's just something we really wanted to do, basically. And
I think as well, it's always worth, if you do get something that you're like, you know what, this is a bit different, something going on here, it's kind of weird, and you like it and you push it, and people latch onto it, and they're like, all right, yeah, I quite like that, it's a bit different, it's a bit weird, and you can expand on that sound, and move that through some production for a while. You don't have to keep doing it for the rest of your life, but do 6 months batch of those tunes. It's quite a good idea to do that. People like Harvey have done that, arguably to death, but he's made a really big career out of it. That dude is a bit of a different understanding of, or not, a bit of a different outlook on how much work you take on, because he's quite a different producer to us, but you can hear a Harvey record still after quite a few years of millions of remixes that dude's done. You'd be like, oh, it's a Harvey tune.
Yeah.
Whatever you may feel about it, you'll know. And that's kind of I think that's quite an important thing. We're a bit I think we're maybe a bit like that. And then, as Ben said, we suffer a bit from our background, which is right, we're retiring these ideas now, we need to do something different. And I don't think that's an unhealthy thing. It's a bit annoying, sitting in the studio when you're like, oh, it sounds like that record, that's like that record. You can make sounds. I'm a bit of a sort of advocate of I went to art school, and they kind of teach you the idea is when you go to art school and you do your foundation, that you learn technique and you learn to understand how people made what they did. And if you have that understanding, then you can grow on that and build on that to make your own technique. And it's completely and utterly the same with music. You can take that or leave it, but I do think somewhere within the whole kind of just do your own thing, it's good to understand the fundamentals. And then you can also, from that, understand very much when you are copying other people, and you can be like, well, this is good, but it's a carbon copy of a Harvey record, which is what happened. Everybody for a couple of years copied Harvey's remixes, and you don't want to be that guy. You want to be Harvey, and I think if you're original, that's the only way you will really achieve that. And if you are, then you'll probably do really well.
And we were much the same as Toddla, that it took us a really long time before we actually were you know, a few people were kind of got some feedback. Early days, it was like, okay, like, got commissioned a remix and more remixes. Got sort of started playing out shows and doing, and you know, it was definitely snowballing and definitely like moving like from what we were doing to Jack Beats, and we still were like, do people actually like what we're doing? It got
we should have brought in like 20 tracks which you've never heard, and you would be like, did you actually make that? It's awful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like stepping stones.
That's a really good point, though. You know,
yeah, there's a lot of
something
rubbish.
I say a lot about to a lot of, like, if I ever meet, like, it's usually in nightclubs after I've just done DJ set. A lot of people come up to me and they try and give me CDRs and stuff like that. And I always, the first question I always ask them is, I say, first of all, I say, is this the best thing you've ever done? And if they kind of like hesitate slightly, I say, how many, you know, how many tunes have you done before this one or something? And they'll go, oh, that's my second one or something. And I say, no. You know, don't give me that. Don't give me the CD. Don't give me the CD. Just keep it for a while. I'm still going to be here, hopefully, in a few months or a year's time, or whatever. Don't give me a second tune. Don't give me a fifth tune. Don't give me your 10th tune. Right? My 10th tune was awful. I don't know what you got. My 20th tune was rubbish. Okay. Give me like your 30th tune, your 35th tune, something like that, where you've done it by your own trial and error, and you really are sure that is the absolute best thing you've done. And me and Neil actually went to the same art school, and I remember learning a lot at art school that you knew you had you'd done a good design project if you basically had nothing bad to say about it yourself. Basically, if you just were just literally like, often there's something in the back of your head and you know that it's not that great. You know, I could change that a bit. If you know that it's absolutely perfect, that's the thing you give. And if you believe in it enough, that's what happens. And you know what will probably happen if you do. If someone in this room does really make it big and has their own signature sounds and does it, it probably won't sound like any of our records. It won't sound like, it might not even be dance music. Because the point was that you just followed your heart and did it.
Definitely give your demo to, if you go out to clubs, definitely it's like, I mean,
write the track name on it though, and your name.
And your email address.
Sorry, ban my life.
So many producers get found out that way. I mean, every CD that I've ever got given in my whole history, I've listened to like every single one, good or bad. I'll always put them in my bag, and I might not listen to it the next night or the night after or the next week, but I will listen to it at some point. Not to say that I've ever found anyone's great, but Boy 8-Bit and Fake Blood's a perfect example. Sub Focus and Andy C's, and I mean, they're just examples like all through the history of music. A new producer giving it like a
because all you do is get in the car and put the CD on.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, let's go through
Bang,
what I got.
yeah.
Don't be scared, like.
Yeah.
Cause like I sometimes used to think, oh, I used to burn CDs, and I remember trying to give one to Mark Ronson and being like, I felt like a bit of like, I don't know, a bit like.
Yeah.
I gave one to Wiley once, and it was just a bit like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Giving CDs to Wiley might be a bit.
Yeah,
different,
Wiley's like one. He's a one-off. But what I'm saying is, when someone gives me a CD, I'm proper happy, man. Because
Yeah.
one, I think I'm really flattered that they actually want me to hear the music, and two, it's music. Of course, I want
Someone
music.
once chucked one at me at a gig, like from like quite far, and it like sort of went straight past me. I was like, you know what, maybe not that approach. But, like, can't hand it to someone as opposed to like just being like.